All right, folks, good morning. All right, let's get started. Sorry, we're starting a little late here, but for today, Thursday, April the 3rd, we have the following information. All day today, we have OPEC JMMC meetings. Usually, I don't discuss commodities meetings, but OPEC meetings can have market impact um, except for the stock market. At 7:30 a.m., we have Challenger job cuts, which was not an important report. 8:30 a.m., we had unemployment claims, which came in better than expected. Trade balance came in as expected. At 9:45 a.m., we have final services PMI, which is a moderately important report. 10 a.m., we have ISM services PMI, which is a major report. So we should expect some substantial volatility between 9:45 and 10 o'clock Eastern. And shortly thereafter, at 12 p.m., we have FOMC member Jefferson speaking. And at 2:30 p.m., we have FOMC member Cook speaking. None of those are supposed to have a significant impact, but we'll see. Yesterday, we had what was dubbed Liberation Day, where President Trump announced a sweeping um, round of tariffs that would be added, and the markets reacted first with a slight jump, then with a sharp decline. However, we're still trading within the general range that we've been in recently. So if you look here on this chart of the QQQ, which we're going to look at now, we are still mostly, not totally, we're still mostly within the range of what we've done recently. We are below the low down here, but if I take this over to a daily chart, then we can see that basically we're around where we were um, in the summer of 2024. Okay. Now, as far as the reaction goes, we'll see if it's permanent or not. What I mean by that is once the session opens, most of what we're seeing here is the impact of overnight trading. But once the session opens, we'll see what the actual main participants in the U.S. markets think. A lot of the action that we see overnight is influenced by some foreign activity, but we'll see what happens during the regular session. All right. Having said that, markets will be opening in about 23 minutes, so we'll see where we are then. All right. So we know what happened with the QQQ ETF. Just covered that. As far as opportunities for stocks are concerned, we did find a couple of stocks yesterday. We found a firm, AFRM, which was uh, bullish, but we weren't able to get the overall performance results we wanted. We did only get a small profit out of that, and then we had CELH, which we took a very small loss on. So basically, we were almost exactly at break even yesterday. Very, very, very slightly positive, but let's just say break even. Um, that being said, we can expect a lot of stocks to open lower today since we can see the overall market has gapped down. But once the market opens, we'll see if that sentiment is going to stick because a lot of this trading activity, as you can see, it's on thin volume, which is typical overnight. Even during the announcement from President Trump, it was notable that a lot of the movement was on elevated market volume for the post-market session, but for the most part, except for the initial phase, a lot of the volume was not quite that impressive. Okay, so basically, let's just look at what's moving in the pre-market. Okay, so there are a lot of stocks that are going to come up, but let's just focus on a few of them. So first off, we have, let's see, Apple. Let's take a look at that. Apple is presently down 8% on 3.5 million shares, trading at least $1 a share, of course. So we'll go ahead and add that to our list. In fact, like I said, we're going to have a lot of stocks that will come up, not necessarily meaning that they're the best opportunities, but they will show up either way. So let's take a look here. Oops, sorry. It looks like my notepad disappeared. Here it is. right, sorry, 1 second. I gotta clean up. Had to pull up my notepad and had a lot of notes that were scattered across my computer. All right, there we go. All right, so at Apple, AAPL. Next up, we have ALDX, which I'm sure qualifies. That is presently down 75.6% on 1.7 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. That action, of course, is due to an FDA letter, not due to any tariff related stuff. Let's check out Amazon. Amazon's currently down about 7%, 2.4 million shares traded. It's at least $1 per share. So we'll add Amazon to our list. Next up is APDN, which is presently, this one's actually up 1.25%. So not enough to qualify. It would need to be up at least 6%. Moving on to APVO. Oops, APVO. Okay. Which is presently down about 3%, so not enough either. So we'll skip that one. Let's check Robinhood. That is currently down 11.2% on 7.5 million shares, at least $1 per share. Now, in the case of this particular stock, this is a good example of a stock that shouldn't really have responded as strongly, because if you think about it, Robinhood is a brokerage. Tariffs, I have to see if there's any, I'm trying to think in my mind if there's any possible impact from tariffs on a trading account that's based on clients only in the United States, as far as I know. So this one looks like it's definitely misplaced, but we'll see what happens. But this is a good example of how something could affect the entire market, and even stocks that really have no particular relationship to that can move down. But we'll see. Maybe there's some hidden connection that I don't see. All right, then we have ICCT, currently up 27% on 5.6 million shares. Roughly, it's at least $1 per share, so we'll go ahead and add ICCT to our list. Next up is INTC. That's presently down only 2.96%, so that doesn't qualify at all. So I'll pass on that. Let's check out Lucid, LCID. That currently is down 8.33% on 9 million shares, at least $1 per share. So Lucid does qualify, so we'll add that. Next up is NVIDIA, NVDA, and that is currently down 5.85%. So that means that NVDL will be down 11.52%. So we'll just add that one, which is an ETF, a leverage ETF for NVIDIA, NVDL. Next up, ORSH. Presently, that is, okay, OSRH, spelled it wrong. That currently is up 42% on 18.1 million shares, trading at above $1 per share, so that qualifies, and we will add OSRH to the list. Next up, we have, let's check out Palantir, PLTR. That's currently down 6.8, well, let's say 6.9% on 2.7 million shares, is at least $1 per share. So PLTR is now added to the list. Next up is SMCI, which is presently down 7.64% on 1.7 million shares. It's at least $1 per share, so we'll add SMCI to our list. Next up is SoFi, which is currently down 9.26% on 1.9 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll add SoFi. Next up is, I'm sorry, what did I just, oh, okay, sorry. I just hit something on accident. I thought I accidentally closed the window. Next up is TIVC, which is presently up 53.5% on 17.4 million shares, at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that. TIVC. Next up is Tesla, TSLA, which is presently down 6%. Of course, you also have TSLL, which is the leverage ETF for Tesla. Okay, so that was down 12.26%. So you could use this as a substitute for Tesla, but I'll just put Tesla in TSLA. All right, and I'm sure there are other stocks that I missed. So if there are any that I missed, I'll specifically request only ones that have extreme amounts of volume and price movement. So if they're just like a 6% mover or something like that that I missed, don't worry about it. We'll see tons of those anyway. But if you have anything that meets our criteria, but I would say especially looking right now for anything that has a massive percentage change, SMST, let's see, 15%. Um, let's just say something that's moved more than 20%, but we'll add that anyway since it's already been mentioned. Any really big movers, SQQQ. Well, any really big movers. So if you got anything, well, I don't know. We'll see when the market opens. So that's what I was saying earlier. The sentiment that's reflected overnight doesn't necessarily have any relationship to what's going to happen during the regular session. A lot of the action you see in the pre-market isn't really focused on the major participants in the US. So when the market opens, then we'll find out. But as I said, there are some stocks that we can realistically guess are not likely to stay down because there really isn't a reason to. So I'm looking at Robinhood. There are no headlines that I can see. Doesn't mean they don't exist, but I don't see any headlines that reflect what's happening with Robinhood. We already found APVO, but that hasn't moved enough. So any stock that, like a brokerage stock or something like that, if it's down, but it's completely tariff neutral, right? In other words, my trading account doesn't really care what, the positions I have would be one thing, but the actual actions would be another. So anything that makes money, like Robinhood, I have to emphasize off of trading activity, it would kind of be logical to ask, why would this stock be down when volatility always results in higher fees? so, so this one is a big question mark. So when the market opens, we have to watch that. All right, so we'll wrap up for today's pre-market pulse. TQQQ, I'll look at that last. Um, yeah, 12%. So like I said, we don't really have to focus much attention on every stock today. I was just saying if there are any like massive, 50% up, 100% up, 200% up, something like that, definitely point those out. But otherwise, if it's just like every other stock, don't need to look because pretty much all of them are going to do the same thing, most likely, except maybe a few that actually have a good reason to go opposite to the market. All right, so we'll wrap up for today, folks. Thank you for joining. Please be sure to like the video. I see we have 5 likes, more than 5 people watching, so please hit that like button, which greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when we produce a brand new video. And if anyone's watching this video on a replay and you're not familiar with our company, check out fundertrading.com, which is our website. You will see a link in the description to this video. Other than that, for everyone as part of the coaching program, I will see you there very shortly. All right, folks, have a great trading session. I'll see you for tomorrow's pre-market pulse. Take care.